All right, this is going to be the last video from chapter 2, but this particular video is actually going to apply to the entire year, like everything we do in this class, and plus it could even help you in other classes like physics or even like your math classes. So I always tell people when you're working these problems, like get stuck, guess, but guess stands for something. All right, so that was weird, whole flicker. G, givens. Use the unknowns. E is equation. S is substitute. The one to solve. So that's guess. So you have givens, you have an unknown, something you're after. So you're given a bunch of information, and then there's something you're after. Most likely, somewhere in your bag of tricks, you have an equation that relates to these guys. Now, there actually probably should be another letter in here. Algebra, right? Always do the algebra first with the variables. Do not substitute in the numbers and then do the algebra. It's way more prone to making mistakes or just a transcription error or something goofy. So always do your algebra just on the bare equation with the variables in there. Then you substitute in your numbers and then solve it. All right, and the last thing you want to do is figure out, does it make sense? Now, I know a lot of this stuff might be weird and you might not have a gut intuition as to if it makes sense. And plus, the metric system, some people are amazingly bad at the metric system. But, if I'm asking you to calculate, gosh, if I have like 5 uranium atoms, and they're side by side, like what would that length be? And then you calculate like 1.2 meters. Something in your head, you go, wow, that's really far off. Are these atoms or basketballs? Right? So you always need to ask, like, does it make sense? And see if it does. I figured I'd work through an example here really quick. So let's say we have a question here that says, calculate the density of a 500-gram rectangular block that has the following dimensions. So the length is 8 centimeters, the width is 6 centimeters, and the height is 5 centimeters. So what are we given? So we're going to do the whole guess thing. So givens, we have 500 grams. What is that? That's mass. All right. Length, width, and height. These things all together will give me volume. So if I take length times width times height, that gives me the volume. And I'm after density. So the equation that relates mass and volume and density is, well, the density equation, right? So density equals mass over volume. So mass is 500, and my volume is going to be 8 times 6 times 5. If I put that in my calculator, it says 240. So my volume is 240 cubic centimeters, right? Centimeters times centimeters times centimeters is cubic centimeters. Now let's nitpick this for sig figs. All right. How many sig figs are here? 2, and then 2 and 2. So my answer should have 2 sig figs. So I can write 240 without a decimal place, without a decimal point. And so 240, that's fine. It's got 2 sig figs. This one, that's got a period right there. It's got a decimal point there. So all 3 of these count. So when I go to calculate the density, it's going to be mass, 500, divided by the volume, which is 240. I put that in my calculator, and it says 2.08333. All right. Again, I want to nitpick this for sig figs. So there's 3 sig figs here. There's 2 sig figs in my volume. I'm dividing. So the rule is for that is that I can't have more sig figs in my answer than I did in my least number of sig figs that I started off with, which was 2. So I need to round my answer to 2 sig figs. So you can take that 2.08333 and switch that to 2.1, and you're good. So 2.1 grams per milliliter, or you can call it grams per cubic centimeter, whatever you want. It's all good. All right, that is that. Catch you in the next chapter.